Hey everyone, since I'm not here today, I wanted to go over the homework, and I'm going to have the substitute collected at the end of the block, and actually I made extra paper copies. So before you listen to this, if you don't have your homework on you and you need a paper copy of it, get one, because if you follow along and finish any problems that you didn't do as I go over them, then I will count, when I get back, I'll count it as your first homework completion grade for the marking period. So you might want to pause the video, go up, and get an extra paper copy of the homework if you do not have it on you. Okay, so let me go through the answers here. And the first one is, this is the term for one execution of the body of a loop, and that is called an iteration. So, iteration. Then, number two, the variable that regulates how many times a loop iterates is called a counter variable. So this would be true for loops in particular. And to some degree while loops, but you don't have to have one with a while loop. You do need a counter variable for a for loop. Typically, you'll see it as the letter I. And I think I stands for index, but it's frequently used as the counter variable of the for loop. True or false, variables declared within the body of a loop can be referenced elsewhere in code, and that is false. If you declare a variable in a method, you can only reference it or access it in that method. That includes any counter variable that you've set up with for a for loop. And that's why you can reuse counter variables, the same name, in different for loops, because as soon as the for loop finishes, the variable pretty much ceases to exist. Okay, what will be assigned to x after the loop executes? If it can't be determined because an infinite loop results, write infinite loop. Draw a table for the variables. Okay, so there's two variables here. There is I and x. X starts off at 0. I goes from 0 to 10. And it goes up by 1 each time. So right off the bat, I can kind of tell the values that are going to cause the loop to iterate or cause the body of the loop to iterate are going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, and each time that the loop executes, so like when I is 0, x is still 0, then the body of the loop executes, and x goes up to 1. And then I goes up to 1. And 1 is less than 10, so the body of the loop executes, and x goes up to 2. We go back up to the top, we increment I, so now I goes up to 2. Then is 2 less than 10? Yes, it is, so I goes up to 3. The body of the loop, x goes up to 3. When the body of the loop executes, then it goes back up to the top, and I goes up to 3. That causes x to go up to 4. And I goes up to 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. Okay, so, and then finally, 10. When I is 9, x is going to go up from 9 to 10. Okay, so that means the last value that is assigned to x will be 10. The loop goes 10 times, so x goes up 10 times. It started off at 0. It's going to end up at 10. Okay, so that's the answer to number 1. Number 2. Okay, what will, let's see, be assigned? What variables do we have? We have num and x. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, I'm going to make x and num. You should be writing this down and making a table yourself as I go over this, except for maybe Luke. Okay, so, whoops, let me get back to that. Sorry, I haven't used the pen on my tablet in a while. Okay, so x is 0, num starts off at 10. Now we go into a while loop. While num is greater than 0, is 10 greater than 0? Yes, it is. That's a true statement. So what happens? Both of them go down by 1. So we're going to do -1. Okay, then, and num goes down to 9. Okay, we go back up to the top. We put num is 9, so is 9 greater than 0? Yes, it is. So we're going to do -2 and 8. Okay, and then let's see. I can tell that there's going to be a pattern where it's going to go like this. 6, -6, 7, -7. Oops, I'm sorry. What am I doing? It goes 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's the last statement that is going to make a true statement when I is 1. So essentially, the loop will have gone 10 times, and x will be going down 10 times. So that means I'm going to end up with x being -10, okay? Because when it goes down to -10 and num goes down to 0, we go up to the top and we get a false statement. So the loop is done. So that means -10 would be your answer. Oops. Pen is not real sensitive. Get rid of that. And let me get rid of that. Okay, the next one. Let's see. Well, right off the bat, I can tell that I is going to go, the loop is going to iterate. So it's going up by 2 each time, the counter variable. So that means, and the stopping condition is I less than 20. So when it finally reaches 20, the loop will be done. So let's see. So that's going to go, I is going to be, let's see, it's going to be 0. Let me do x and I. So I'll put I there and x there. And every time I goes up by 2, x then goes up by 2. Okay, so the loop is going to go when I is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and then 20 is going to cause the loop to stop. So the last value that is going to cause the body of the loop to execute would be when I is 18. Okay, well, every time the loop executed, x went up by 2. So how many times does x go up by 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so x goes up by 2 each time, and we're going to get 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, and 68. And then finally, I is going to go up to 20, and we're going to be done. So let's count how many times x went up by 2. It went when I is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. That's 10 times. So that means x goes up by 2 10 times, which would be 20. So the answer is going to be 70. All right, next one. Okay, so let's see. X equals 20 while x is greater than 10, x plus plus. So guess what? This is an infinite loop. It will never stop. And the reason it will never stop is that the condition, there's nothing in the body of the loop that will make the condition a false statement, right? If x is 20, it's already greater than 10. And you're only increasing it each time the loop iterates. So it's going to go 21, 22, 23. Guess what? All those numbers are always going to be greater than 10. So that means that would be an infinite loop. Your computer would freeze up, or you would get a NetBeans or Greenfoot is not responding. Would you like to close it, or something along those lines? Okay, so the next one, a little bit trickier. So we have num, and we have 100. So num starts off at 0. Gosh, what am I doing? Once again, can't talk and write and think at the same time. Num is 0, x is 100. Okay, so it says, well, num is less than 10 if x mod 2 is 0. Okay, that's going to be true when you have an even statement, x plus plus. Okay, so that is true, so I'm going to do 101, else x plus equals 3. All right, well, that's not going to execute because this will execute the first time through. So num goes up by 1. All right, now is 1 less than 10? Yes, it is. Okay, if x mod 2 equals 0, that is not true because x is 101 and you get a remainder of 1 when you divide by 2. Else, so we're going to do the else this time, x plus equals 3. So now we go up to 104 and then num plus plus. Okay, not 2 is less than 10, so we have another even number. So that means we increase x by 1, okay, and then increase num. All right, well, this time we have an odd number. So that means when 3 is less than 10, so we have an odd number, and we're going to add 3 and get 8. Okay, then num goes up to 4. 4 is less than 10, so the loop keeps going. That's an even number, so x goes up by 1, and num goes up to 5. 5 is less than 10. That is a true statement. So, and we have an odd number, so we're going to do 112, and num goes up to 6. Okay, so I think you can see we're alternating between adding 3 or adding 1. So we added 1, we added 3, we added 1, we added 3, we added 1, we added 3. So that means the next numbers would be adding 1, then adding 3, then adding 1, then adding 3, then adding 1. Okay, and that's going to happen. Num goes up to 7, 8, 9. Okay, when it goes up to 10, and you go back to the top, you're going to get a false statement, so the loop will be done. So that means the last value of x is 120. So it would be 120. I kind of apologize for making these loops so long. I probably should have just made them go 5 times. But I guess that's what I was thinking when I put this together. So, okay, let's see. How many more do we have to do? Hopefully not too many. Okay, let me move down. We have one more. All right, good. All right, that's not too bad. Okay, so we have I and we have mystery. First of all, so let's kind of look and see if the loop will eventually stop. And yes, it will. This is a for loop. The body of the loop is going to iterate as long as I is less than 11. So I starts off at 1, that's true, so the loop starts to iterate. And then I is going to go up by 1 each time, so that means this is a true statement when I is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that means I is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The loop will go when I is 10. It'll go back up to the top, and I will be 11, and then 11 is not less than 11. That's a false statement, so nothing happens, and the loop is done. Okay, so I have a feeling, yes, if I mod 2 is 0, mystery equals false, else mystery equals true. Well, this is going to be true for all even numbers. Okay, because when I divide by 2, I get a remainder of 0. Because 2 goes evenly into all even numbers. It does not go evenly into all odd numbers. So that means when I is an odd number, mystery is going to get assigned true. So that means, let's see, it's going to go, so mystery starts off at true. Okay, so 1, the number 1, the first time through the loop, is going to is an odd number, so mystery is going to turn true. Okay, then for 2, it's going to turn false, true, false. Okay, and it's just alternating back from true, false, true, false, true, false. So that is going to be the last value of I that's going to make the body of the loop execute. It's going to be 10, because once we go up to 11, the loop ends. Remember, you don't do this until after you execute the body of a for loop. So you start with the counter variable being whatever that value is. You immediately check to see if this is a true statement, because there actually are cases where the way your code needs to work, maybe you don't know this condition is dependent on the value of variables, which could be different depending on what's happening. So there are cases where the body of the loop will never execute. And that will happen if you immediately get a false statement when you put the first value of the counter variable into the condition. Okay, whenever you get a true statement, you continue on and iterate the loop. Now, with the third expression, remember, that doesn't happen until the body of the loop has executed. So you can kind of think of it as being like, oh, we have I++ down here at the bottom, and I++ means go up by 1. I plus equals 2 means go up by 2. Okay, so the answer to this one was false. Okay, so that's it for the homework. Review and complete it if you did not complete it. Yeah, that's it. We will see you on, let's see, today's Tuesday, so we will see you on Thursday.